Hello, I'm excited what this moment is about to offer us once again. I'm your brother Ohianele Jonathan. Thank you for deciding to watch this video, and I'll be grateful if you watch it to an end. On this channel, we are on the move to research into knowledge, understand it, and apply it for our better future, our personal development, our self-mastery, and individual growth. So, today's topic is so lovely. Today's topic is lovely, and I will be grateful if you can leave your comment at the comment section as you watch this video. Yes, we are treating the topic the hidden secrets to know after graduation. Yes, that's the topic that we are treating for today. Do you know that the world started from somewhere before reaching this era? The world started a long time ago. It started this way. When God created the world, the human beings on earth during those times were just hunting and feeding for themselves. They were just concentrating on the animals that are living on the land surface. So they wake up in the morning, they decide to go and search for what they will eat. They will search for what will make them okay in the day. That was how they were surviving. During those times, they were not caring about clothes. They were not caring about watches. They weren't caring about shoes. The good thing that could have happened to them during those times was to cover themselves with animal skins and some broad leaves. That was all that matters to them. I'm saying this because creating wealth or being successful means that you should have a certain mindset. You should have knowledge about how wealth came about. Let me make it simple. About how money came about. When you know much history about how money came about, that is when you will fast forward your success. That is when you will move fast into the fulfillment of your purpose. Knowing how money originated will make you create wealth in the right way. Yes. So I was talking of an era with the name the caveman era or the gathering era. This era, which is called the caveman era, deals with energy and skills. So when you wake up in the morning and you have the energy to go into the bush, to go and look for bush meat and other materials that will make you survive, then it means you have money. Did you hear what I said? I said during the caveman era, money equals energy. Yes, because all they were caring about was how they will survive. So when you wake up in the morning, you go into the bush to search for what will make you survive in the day. So when you have the energy to go and do that, then it means you have money. So money during the hunting times, during the gathering times, was energy. Because if you don't have the energy, how can you survive? Yes, so energy by then was what was called money. Another thing that was considered money during those times was their skills. You see, during those times that they were hunting, how skillful you are, that will make you aim at an antelope or a giraffe, hippopotamus, or whatever animals that you kill makes you a billionaire. So let's say, for example, a hunter goes for hunting and brings home a giraffe. He becomes the billionaire because he has enough meat to survive himself and the family and to even share for friends. Are you getting it? So the world started from an era, entered into another era, moved to another, and we are now in a current era. And I'm talking of the caveman or the hunting and gathering era. You get it? So during those times, your energy equals money. Your skills equals money. You get it? So during the caveman era, their concentration was their energy and strength. And that is money, that is wealth for them. Yes, that is wealth for them. So they realized that during their movement into the forest, they saw crops that could help them. So they decide to bring those crops closer to them and plant them on a vast land. Crops like okra, crops like pepper, crops like onion, ginger, garlic, and the rest. Now, this brings us to the second era. That is the agrarian era or the farming era. During these times, when the hunters go into the bush or the individuals were searching for what will make them succeed, they realized that they could have their own farms growing certain types of crops on a vast land so that they can harvest it for themselves. So during this era, which is the second era, the agrarian and the farming era, they were sowing and reaping. They were what? Sowing and reaping. So during those times, if you can sow as many crops as you can on a vast land, you become successful. Yes. So during those times, their money and their wealth was the number of crops that they could grow on a land. So they entered into plantations. That is when they started growing mangoes, coconuts, palm trees, cashew, and a whole lot. Yes. So during the second era, they were into massive farming. This is what was money for them by then. So you should know the era in which we are and what you have to do to succeed in this era. That's why I've started from the first era. I've now moved into the second era, and I'll be jumping into the third era. But before I speak of the third era, let's talk about this. During the second era, which is the agrarian and the farming times, or the farming ages, because they were growing plantations and were having as many crops as they could plant, they were having some issues. Issues like the workers that will work on the farm for them. One person could have as many hectares of mango plantation, as many hectares as coconut plantation. They have many palm trees planted for themselves. And as such, they needed more workers. They needed more hands on the farms. And this was a problem for them. During this era, they have many problems. Problems like ownership of land, because they've realized that as vast land as you own for yourself, you can create more wealth on it. So during the farming eras, they decide to hijack lands for themselves. This is where the ownership and claiming of land started from. At first, the vast land was there. You were just moving around, searching for greener pastures. You go and get a place, you stay there. But since they've realized that they were using the lands for crops and making wealth for themselves, they decide to claim ownership. So a group of family goes to harbor a certain land, they demarcate the whole place, then they hijack it for themselves. Because they were having the problem of workers on the land, they introduced polygamy. So this is where polygamy started from. The men were having as many wives as they could handle, so that they can give birth to as many children as they can, so that they will use them on the farm. Polygamy was an economic strategy that the men has adapted during those times. They were using it to produce children for themselves, so that they will use the children to work on the farm. So it was not something for fun, as most people are doing. It was an economic strategy that they used. So as many children as you have, you will need less hands of other people to help you on the farm. So it was a strategic something. Because they needed more hands on the farm, which they couldn't get by adapting the polygamous system, they introduced the slave system. That is when they decide to go and buy other people from different lands to come and work for them. So this is the source of slavery. They realize that some particular people are very strong. Some particular people can work hard the whole of 24 hours without getting tired. So they will just go and get those people either through an agreement or by force, and they will come and use them on the farm. Yes. So this was what was happening during the agrarian or the farming era. So during this time, they were having some challenges because they had many plantations, because they've grown many crops. They could not use all because they were not as much as the world is populated as of now. So they introduced a system called the barter trade, or trade by barter. This is where you use what you have to exchange what you want. Yes, what you need is what you need. So if you have yam and you needed plantain, you will have to go to the one having the plantain, then you exchange. If you needed a product and you have land, you will have to use your land. Since they have hijacked lands for themselves, you have to use your land to exchange for that product. People were even using land to exchange for slaves. Yes, they were using land to exchange for slaves. So they were not agreeing on certain issues because of the barter trade. People were not agreeing on a value as to what amount of product should be used to exchange a certain amount of product. They were also having transportation problems. They were having transportation problems because you can go and exchange a product and you cannot transport the whole product to where you want it. For example, you need a land. You have a farm product. You have used your farm product to exchange a land, but you cannot transport the land. Yes. Or you need a product and you have, maybe say, let me say you have cocoyam and you want to exchange for pepper. You will do that, but you cannot transport your pepper to where you want it to be, or your cocoyam to where you want it to be. So these were some of the challenges. Then another challenge they were having during the agrarian era was storage. They couldn't store whatever they were producing. Yes. So this is where they introduced themselves to the third era, which is the industrial era. In the industrial era, they were producing and processing their farm products. This is where factories were created. This is where factories were originated from, so that they could process their farm produce. Yes, so that they could process their farm produce. So this is where they introduced the school system or the education system. Let me bring to your notice. Let me bring to your notice. The school system was introduced to produce workers for them to work in the factories and the companies that they've created. Don't forget, it is the billionaires, it is the wealthy people who were into the plantations, who needed more work, more hands on the farm, that introduced the industrial age. So school currently is following the original intent for its existence. School is not created to make you understand how to make money. School is not created to make you create wealth for yourself. It was originally brought up by the authorities of those times to produce people for them to work for them. Yes, so you should know this. So if you are a graduate, you have completed JHS, SHS or university, you should think twice. You should think twice, because education has its own role to play. But when it comes to wealth creation, when it comes to succeeding in life, when it comes to making money, managing and multiplying money, you need other forms of education in addition to the academic education. This is what this video is about. This video is about helping you to know the secrets that you have to be aware of after you have graduated. Yes, after you have graduated. And that is where we are heading towards. But before we get there, I want you to know the source of how money was originated. So when they introduced the school system, that was when job and salary system was also brought up. So you are to work in the company or the industries they've created. They will give you a certain small amount of money so that they can keep you working for them. They will tell you that they have a retirement plan for you. They have other incentives that they will be giving you. So if you don't know and you follow that, which most of us are following, which is called the rat race, if you don't change that mindset, success will be far away from you. You will never reach financial independence. Financial independence, talking of financial freedom. So, if you are a graduate, act wisely. Act wisely. So, because they've introduced the job system, came to agree that, oh, okay, a decision was made to accept other things as a medium of exchange. So they were using gold coin, copper coin, cowries, and whatever that they value to be important to do the payment. Then they also came to agree that they realized that gold is universally strong, so it was universally accepted as a good value retainer. Gold was universally accepted as a good value retainer. So they introduced paper as a promissory note. They introduced paper as a promissory note. So you install your gold, they introduce you a paper as a promissory note. Then you can use that paper, which is the promissory note, for transactions, so that your gold will be secure, or that which important property you have will be secured. So this is the source of paper currency. This is where paper currency started from. Paper currency on its own is not wealth what we think it is. Yes, paper currency is not money. I told you that during the first era, money was energy and skills. The second era, it was farming, plantations. It was the produce that you have, which tells how wealthy you are. Then we move to the industrial age, where companies were processing the product. So all those that were being able to process product into finished goods were the billionaires. They were those making money, not those that were introduced into the schooling. We moved from the third era to the what? The fourth era, which is technology and information era. Currently, we are in the technology and information era. We are in an era whereby you use scientific knowledge and skills to produce machines that will help solve life's problem. We are in an era whereby the knowledge you've accumulated, how wise you are, will fasten your success. We are in an era where what you know makes you somebody. That is why the billionaires currently are those that are into computer manufacturing, internet, software creation, in an era where brain power is what is helping humans to succeed. What do you know that your friend doesn't know? That is what makes you a wealthy person currently in this era. That which you know, which your friend doesn't know, is that which will make you a wealthy person currently. Yes, please, if you have not subscribed to the channel, kindly do so. We are on a move to understand knowledge, apply it to our personal life for our better future, our self-mastery, our individual development. So please, thank you for being part of this family. Subscribe to the channel and like and share the video. Thank you. So we are in the technology and information age. This is the age where brain power is reigning. This is the age where knowledge and wisdom is everything. So you have to be wise at this era. If you are a graduate, these are the secrets that you have to know. Let's talk about the hidden secrets that you should know after graduation. The first thing you should know is